Welcome to another weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on the street encounters, and everything else about this increasingly expensive hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And let's just jump right in as we can finally talk about the last batch of Fanatics Fest 2026 reports. So how were the rest? I think we talked about the first 2 days of Fanatics Fest last time around.
First 3.
Oh.
Just Sunday was still in the air.
So what'd you go in Sunday for?
Sunday was some of the bigger WWE stuff. Like it was Punk, it was Obafemi, that was it on WWE level. I had
they had up until the last minute they had the Usos, right?
Well, yeah, more on that in a bit. It also had the New York Giants, and yeah, that was basically it. So to start the day, I'm sure most people were very concerned. Sleepless nights, tosses and turns in the middle of the night. Did I find those canvas duffel bags? And the answer is I did. Upon walking in at first, I found there was a person with like a wagon, and they were giving them out. So I got my one bag. And I walked the show floor. I didn't see any sort of hullabaloo from anyone famous yet moving around. I didn't want to do any more sports. So I started roaming around trying to find more bags. And it turned out there was an entrance way over to like the south side of the building that had all the bags. It was like a giant table. So I grabbed 3 more. At this point, my backpack is filled with these duffel bags. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I suppose I'll use them, but will I need 4 of them? I don't really know. But I got my bags. I made my way inside the actual show. I got some photos inside the octagon since there was no line. Then Ira came, and Ira and I took photos of us like fighting inside the octagon, which if anyone had any questions about my sanity, you see me in those pictures and you just know I'm not well. I'm not all there as a person. That's fine. And from there, we moseyed on down to the photo op area. We had CM Punk, we had Obafemi, and over on the stage was the Stephanie McMahon podcast with my white whale, Michael Cole.
So were you able to finally check Michael Cole off of your Garbage Pail Kids checklist?
I was. I had to deal with the photo ops in the interim of this show going on. It honestly ran longer than it should have. So I kept watching over to see what was going on. He was still up there yammering. So Epic Leap was still doing the whole group thing. They wouldn't let you in if you didn't have group 1. If they were calling for group 1, nothing mattered. It had to be that group. And like Punk's line was significantly longer than Femi's because Femi had a bunch of different sessions. So I made the executive decision to show my group 1 ticket to get into the area for Femi, and instead just go on the line for Punk. Because I could just go through the checkpoint again for Femi, and they would let me in. So we got Punk first, and to my happiness, Punk had a new suit on, and he had the title belt. And it was also the friendliest Phil I've ever seen at one of these signings. I'm sure it was all cameras on, phoniness, as we've discussed, week in and week out. But
friendly how, though?
He was, making small talk. He thanked us. Thank you guys. I appreciate you coming. I've never been thanked. I've never been told that he appreciated me in all my encounters. He was doing poses with people. He was doing the kiss blow with the belt for anyone that asked, it seemed. He was holding like children. He seemed very happy, very smiley, very talkative, making small talk with people, joking around. I've never seen him so light and just free. He seemed very happy. Not sure why, but that was nice. Got the belt up. Probably the last Punk shot I'll ever get. I mean, at this point, that's the definitive belt right now.
I mean, you've really just now taunted the combo gods unnecessarily.
I mean, what are they going to do? Like a group up, I guess?
I don't know. I mean, why would you even put it into the universe? You don't know what they'll do.
Fair. That's fair. Okay, that's true. I mean, let's be honest. If he shaved his head tomorrow and that was his new look, I'd probably want that next year. So I'm acting like I have some sort of standards when I don't. Anyway, so then we went back through the line for Obafemi. Oba is a big man. He even towered over our own Nobler Femi. Ira, was a pretty big guy himself, looked like a tiny little dwarf next to Oba. Oba was nice. I mean, as we've discussed, he doesn't do it at the airports and stuff anymore, but he at least seems to know how to put it on for the show, for the cons, which is where it matters. And at this point, we're done with Pro Up. We have some time until the Giants. I was actually on day 4. I was tired, so I sat on the floor, which I don't usually do. And I didn't want to get my white shorts dirty. So luckily I had a bag filled with the photo op printouts. So I sort of laid the photo op printouts out face down and I sat on them as like a rug. So that was good. The printouts are not completely useless. And when I started seeing you
didn't use your duffel bags as a sort of makeshift mattress.
I didn't think of that. Crap. If I could only live that day again, I would have so much more comfort. Anyway, so I saw Stephanie and Cole. They were starting to land the plane, it looked like. So I ran over, and as I tend to do, I managed to go from like row 4 to basically row 1, because people, like, they sway and they bob and they weave and they leave and they whatever. And there's always like breaks in the chain, basically, of the human chain in front of you. And you can always sort of weasel and position your way in, sort of like a Bill Russell or Kevin McHale in the post. A good rail game is like a post game in the 80s NBA. And I managed to get into the rail, close enough to be able to work. And once it was over, sure enough, Michael Cole hops off the stage and he worked the crowd. He went corner to corner doing pretty much everybody. Whenever I'm in a situation like that, I always go video because I'd rather have a little bit of a quality hit than miss the shot in commotion. So I got that. And then for the hell of it, I had a couple minutes until the Giants. So I just got another Stephanie shot. Definitely a downgrade from the one I got at that Cipriani's party. But what the hell? It was free. Why not? So got that. And then I split the Giants with Greg. Not much to report over there.
Who'd you get from the Giants?
I got Jackson Dart. I got Malik Neighbors. And I got Scatabo, the running back.
And all Greg splits?
All Greg splits. They were supposed to be Lanza splits, but the combo god smiled on me because the Yankee game the night before was rained out, which Lanza had tickets for. So he had the rescheduled game, which was a direct conflict of Fanatics Fest. So Greg splits with the Giants were up for grabs. I bailed him out. And
what do you do in a scenario where you purchase photo ops for a split that doesn't come through? Do you just eat all that money?
It depends how you operate it and how you handle it. I'm usually a little less forgiving. I try to, I try to enforce, if you don't go, you still owe me the money. But I mean, it depends. It depends on circumstances, I guess. It depends on what's going on. I think, more often than not, you don't really owe the money, but I mean, it depends. It's an interesting question. That could actually be a main topic one day. When a split goes awry, what happens? And then while there, I met Michael James Hall. I'm pretty sure those are the 3 names. I struggle remembering one. With this, I'm remembering 3. But he is a Facebook user, a listener, contributor. It was nice to chat with him, and that was cool. And then I got the hell out of there. And humorously enough, I'm making my way back to the train. I filled up my water bottle that I got from my breakfast in the morning. I put it in my bag with all the duffel bags. I zipped my bag up nice and tight. And I didn't take the subway. I figured, what the hell? Let me go to Penn. It wasn't raining yet. So I'm trying to catch the earlier train. After 4 days, you're tired. So I'm sprinting down the block. I mean, as good of a sprint as I can do. I'm going. And all of a sudden, I see people like waving at me. And I assumed, it's a tourist wanting to know where the subway is or some stupid question. But I decided to listen to what they're saying. And what they're telling me is that my bag opened up and duffel bags are flying all over the sidewalk. So I had to turn around. And luckily, this woman gathered all my duffel bags and gave them to me. Sadly, my giant liter bottle of Poland Springs that was refilled with the awful tasting Javits Center water was gone. I don't know where that rolled to, and I wasn't going to look for it because, I mean, at that point, you could be picking up the wrong bottle. The odds of that are slim, but that's the way my mind works. So I started running again, and I had a chance. I had a real chance to make it But then I forgot about the World Cup. So the World Cup was like, you couldn't just walk into Penn Station. It was these giant like guardrail mazes. So I ran up to the cops. I'm like, can I go through the mazes for the LIRR? And they're like, no, you have to go to Moynihan. And to get non-New Yorkers, Long Islanders are not going to care about this. But if you try to get to the Long Island Railroad in Penn Station from the Moynihan train terminal, it's like going to Hogwarts, basically. You have to like go on this random platform and just walk, and just as it like connects. I can't believe you have these two stations and there's not like an air bridge or something that connects the two. I actually asked the LIRR like window, like, how do I get there? And that's what they told me to do. Go down platform 17 and keep walking. Okay. So I missed the earlier train, but luckily I didn't lose my duffel bags.
So I guess that is your Fanatics 2026 experience. So overall, before we get into all the other Fanatics reports, of which there are many, what are your takeaways?
My favorite show of the year, as I said last week, all the events, the booths. There's not a booth at New York Comic Con I give a crap about in comparison to the around the world and the pitching and the different stuff. To me, it scratches my fandom itch in a way that the other cons do not. I agree that the celebrity like walkway thing is definitely frustrating when you're trying to get from point A to point B and you have a giant like this done. You're blocked off. It's like playing like Pac-Man and you got to go around the whole other way through traffic. It's annoying, but I mean, people did pretty well, as we'll get to later, from just getting selfies at that like walkway rail. And I'll be completely honest, I'd rather get cut off at a con and say, oh crap, there's Justin Bieber and Tom Brady, I got to go a different way, than walk through tight, smelly spaces with random cosplayers and all this crap that's, to me, just annoying for no reason. There, at least I have a chance of bumping into someone. To me, it is the greatest con out there, and as much as you hate the Rubin Fanatics empire, I will defend it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hope they all die. In which case, Fanatics would cease to exist. So,
or not, as we'll talk about in our main topic later on.
Sure, that was totally intentional bringing that up. To be honest,
yeah. Stay tuned.
All right, cool. So you also had something else this week. You keep doing this thing where you go out for the Mets rookies and you hoping one of them will stick. Maybe, I don't know. So you went out to see AJ Ewing this week.
Yeah, this one I think is going to stick. I don't think the combo gods are really meddling in baseball affairs. So I don't think any other deities are listening to this podcast. Combo gods are. The other ones are not. I don't think the Christian god, Abrahamic god, is listening to this podcast. So I think AJ Ewing will stick. This was at a different space than it usually is. This was down in Franklin Square at an event space, which honestly, usually they're at Mulcahy's. Kind of better lighting. The Mulcahy's lighting honestly leaves a lot to be desired sometimes. I put the flash on the photos, but it's still like this, sometimes they're still dark. This was great lighting. I actually prefer this space more than Mulcahy's, but we'll see what happens going forward. I saw Ari and Jason. Ari and Jason and I all kind of do the same stuff like constantly. So that definitely means we're all insane, but at least we're not the only ones being insane in the same way. AJ was cool. You could tell he was probably a slight bit uncomfortable. I mean, just you're a 20-something-year-old kid. Yeah, and you got all these people. Like it's definitely new. Keith Hernandez's of the world have been doing this for decades. This is his first ever. You could tell he didn't really know how to pose. His hands were like in his pockets.
Had a hard time wielding the Posca.
I made a pit stop at Blick before I got there to get some Molotovs. Our next private signing, which we will announce in a little bit. I guess we can play with some of the Molotovs. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I ended up springing for an inscription at the last minute because I'm like, I think this guy's really going to last. And he has a cool nickname, which is Psychopath. And I'm like, what the hell?
That is really thumbing your nose at the combo guys. That is interesting. You didn't even tell me that. Wow.
On the line for the autograph, I went up to the table and I Apple Paid the inscription. I went for it. I was going to pass. And then I'm like, you know what? To be afraid of making another mistake could be making another mistake in and of itself because you're like, it makes no sense. So I'm like, this is the one that's going to work. I know the gambler's mentality. I'm like, this is the one I'm going to want the inscription on. The other ones were mistakes. This one isn't. So here we go. Wait, can the combo gods meddle with baseball stuff if it involves combos?
Of course,
they probably can. Oh crap!
Sorry, their reach is not limited to
convention centers.
Exactly. All right. So I mean, I have to be honest. My distaste for Fanatics. My distaste for Fanatics is not a secret, but I admit freely I am kind of alone in that. We have had more new faces, more old faces, talking about Fanatics, giving their Fanatics reports. We had so many reports on Fanatics that we're going to get to, and also Fanatics and all of its various, both drawbacks and benefits were the subject of multiple significant conversations on the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook this week. So a big one that came up quite frequently was spending habits. And, we've all joked and talked about how expensive the Fanatics items were. And so when you and others are posting multiple photo ops from Fanatics, naturally there are those who are going to be commenting on how much you're spending.
Yeah. And I think there is definitely a way to have that conversation that is looking introspectively at the hobby, at the addictive nature of the hobby, at where it's going, at where we as consumers are sort of encouraging and indulging it to go. That's all well and good. We've had this discussion numerous times and in numerous different ways. But the people that try to make these little snide jokes about, what do you spend $10,000 a day? And I responded with $11,000. And he kept going about how I could have done more with my money to help the world. And what it comes down to is the people making comments like that are just broke. They're broke. They're bitter. They can't spend $2,000 because they would need to work, 5 or 6 weeks to make $2,000. And again, I'm not flexing because I'm deranged. Like me spending what I spent, unless I had Trump's money, which I don't, it's deranged. It is not normal. But random person who I didn't even put their name in the notes, and I've blocked them, so I don't even know who they are. They're not the ones to sort of bring up my spending. Like whatever I do is whatever I do. People that try to go after C-Rat and, how do you do this? You have so much money. Save the tickets for other people. Yes. If C-Rat wasn't buying these primo expensive seats, the guy that wheels carts outside Wegmans is definitely going to be the one that would have gotten that seat that C-Rat is taking up. This is not an infinite amount of seats that if you had the money, they would make room for you. And you could be all around the ring. It makes no sense. And it annoys me. And like I said, there's a way to have the conversation intellectually. And then there's a way to have it that you're just trying to be bitter and embarrassed or whatever. And I sit on here every week and talk about the amount of money I spend. I should be embarrassed. I'm not, because I'm deranged. And I'm not going to have some idiot that probably doesn't even listen to the podcast or support us in any way try to make me feel stupid when I make myself feel stupid every week, intentionally.
Yeah, I do find it funny that the kinds of things that bother you, because it's very true that the kinds of things that bother you do not bother me at all, and the kinds of things that bother me don't bother you. I just find that very interesting. You notice certain things, like when people laugh, react, and I'm like, who cares? But there are certain things that bother you, and this is something that bothers you. And I do get bothered when people troll. Trolling annoys me, and I think that there is some overlap there between the two of us. But there are those people. Look, and I do agree that it is entirely all sour grapes. At the end of the day, and this is something we haven't actually discussed this now in probably a year. But I remember beating this drum last year about how this hobby is sort of the definition of a luxury good. Nobody needs it. There's no possible way of saying that this is something that people really should be spending their money on. This should be the last dollars of your budget should be spent on this nonsense.
Yeah. 2 points. I think that the idea and the culture of coming on and being like, what does this cost? You have problems. You spend too much. To me, that is trolling, even if it didn't bother me. Like, I'm not going to let that go on my report or anyone else's, because that, if anything, is putting people under a microscope they may not want to be under. And it's just, when people are sharing their experiences, there's some level of being vulnerable there. I mean, I don't want to make it like some sort of a Hallmark movie, but you're putting your thoughts, usually, unless you just post a picture dump, you're sharing your memories. And that's something that, like, we talk about on the show. We read about them. This is like entertainment for us and content for us as podcasters, as users of the group. There should be some appreciation that the person is taking the time out of their day to share this. And anything that's going to sort of mock that pisses me off. So yes, it bothers me, but it also pisses me off just in terms of how the group should go, because that's just these people, you've contributed nothing. And you're going to try to make C-Rat feel bad because he has a lot of good tickets. Like, shut up. And again, I just want to be very clear because I don't know if I love how it came out. I am not flexing. This is not arrogance. I do not. I will say this completely openly and comfortably. I do not make enough money to spend as much money as I do. I make enough money to spend what I do and survive. And I have all my bills are paid. I feel like I'm singing that like Mano song. But I definitely could be doing more with my money with investments and different things. This is not, I'm not making $300,000 where I could throw this money around. I'm nuts. This is nuts. I'm not the only one that's nuts. I think a lot of us spend more than we probably should, given what our tax bracket is. But I mean, I'm not going to be shamed by lurkers and trolls.
No, that's fair. I agree that the trolling needs to be rooted out. It's just that there are certain things that you allow to get under your skin. I'm not sure why you give that you give it oxygen. I don't know why.
I shouldn't. I guess,
and especially it's the same. The guys who, and it's always guys. I think she's not always guys. Sometimes women. Who say this, that they're all the same. You know, they look the same. They say they use the same arguments. It's the same. I don't know. That annoys me when people aren't original. That annoys me. Totally unrelated.
That's very true.
So, where'd you come up with that? Like, it really annoyed me. Well, we'll get to it later about the Altoona thing. But anyway, what is this? Oh, we talked about a lot on the board. It actually got a lot of traction. Richie slid into our DMs like a complete nut.
I don't know if he slid. He sort of like tripped and like rolled down the stairs into our DMs.
He tripped. He went into the show's DMs. He went into my personal DMs. Did he go into yours as well? Yes, right?
Yeah, we had the group chat, me, you, and Richie. Which honestly, I should never let that chat die. I should just like send like pictures of food and like different things that I'm doing on my daily basis, and just like keep you guys updated in my happenings.
What a weird thing. Did we even talk about him last week? I don't even remember.
I did a little throwaway joke where I said someone was so idiotic that they made Richie seem like he had a high IQ. I don't remember who I was saying was idiotic.
I mean, he got like weirdly offended that we made a joke about Staten Island with Chris Elias. Like where that came, I don't even like. Who cares?
Yeah, he like knows Chris Elias's whereabouts and was like, we're profiting from the Staten Island blue T-shirt, which, by the way, I believe we only sold 2 of them, which was you and me. So
yeah, no one bought Staten Island blue.
The profits are through the roof, and it as usual, it made no sense. He was like defending himself that he didn't steal my meta glasses, which I honestly wish I had accused him of, because that's hilarious. But I mean, that was the furthest thought from my mind. He wasn't at the show. How would he steal my glasses?
Doesn't it make you wonder though? It's like that Lady Macbeth thing. The lady does protest too much, right? Like why would he even bring up something that has never happened? Doesn't that give you pause? Like maybe someone like saw you put them down and then snatched them as a joke and told someone or something. Like does that make you wonder?
It's possible. I mean, I don't know if Richie, like, I mean, when you have just a whole bunch of gibberish and then you have like one coherent sentence, sort of coherent. I mean, I kind of just chalk it all up to craziness. But I mean, it's possible. I mean, the wild thing is I never accused him. How would I accuse someone that wasn't there of doing something? That would be wild. But I mean, whatever. And then my favorite part, which we didn't post, is when he DM'd you personally and accused you of not supporting rappers enough.
Yeah, because I'm a huge rap fan, apparently.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just it sadly just proves that it's not so. Look, people like Richie will exist. That's sort of the nature of the universe. They exist, right? They're not just going to disappear. They exist. It's the weird loyalty that he sometimes inspires in people. That's the part that's like, if you read what he writes and you're still like, yes, this is the person I want to give my money to, that's the part that just my head spins. I just don't. I can't wrap my head around it. But
it's funny though, and it's closing thoughts on Richie. Maybe it's just from my what I'm conditioned to and used to, but like his energy doesn't bother me. Like I understand he's doing the best he can. He's communicating the way he knows how, and like that's fine. Like it doesn't piss me off. The person talking about how much money I spend pisses me off. So Richie, if you ever want to annoy me, talk about how much money I spend at a con. That will get under my skin. This stuff, I'm just glad you're trying, and I try my best to understand.
It's not always easy. It was not easy to understand those messages.
I'm not sure I even did.
Right, there were definitely parts where I got lost.
Honestly,
like reading the Odyssey.
There might be some genius in there that like we're just not programmed to understand. And like if one day it'll click when we're like 80 years old, we're like, oh my God, that's what he meant. And like we'll see like atoms like in frozen in time, just we'll see the world. It might be.
I mean, I'm not confident, but you never know. You never know. Yeah, it's so hard for me to even like give feedback on stuff, the Richie stuff, because I part of me just does actually feel bad, like talking about him in public, because I would never. I just feel bad, but I mean, at the end of the day, he steals from people, right? So that you can't like let that go on without being made aware that they're stealing.
Like when I feel sorry for him, that is true. And again, before he goes nuts, I do not think he has ever forged an autograph by his own hand. Ever, ever, ever. I do not think that at all. And there's no sarcasm. That's truth.
Right. But I mean, when you say that, this because there's an insulting subtext to it.
Sure. I mean, insulting is subjective, but yeah.
I mean, it's not. Yes.
He should be proud of what he does and his lack of capabilities. Because I mean, someone is, you may not be capable of like chopping up bodies and burying them in your backyard, and that's a good thing, because I mean, who would want to do that? Maybe you are. I don't know. But
maybe there's a need.
Not.
A need will arise. Once again, we find ourselves in the middle of the battle over meta glasses. It's so funny because like I don't feel like that strongly about this. They're kind of the one thing that bothers me just in general in the world. Is when people can't make a coherent argument. Have you been watching videos at all about the literacy crisis? Have you seen videos about this and explaining this or no?
I don't think I have.
So there's kind of a prevailing school of thought now in education. I don't want to say maybe prevailing is the wrong word. A growing trend of thought. We are currently experiencing a massive literacy crisis, the likes of which we really don't quite understand because not enough data has been collected on it. But basically, in the past couple of years, this just whether it's as a result of social media or lack of reading or whatever, there's sort of this just overall shift in people's ability to be literate. And when I say literate, I don't just mean understand books, but understand like a line of reasoning or a logical sequence of thoughts. And so people will rely on the ad hominem attacks, or they'll rely on goalpost shifting or like logical fallacies that they don't even realize that they're making. And so one of the things that bothers me, like just as a person, is when someone makes just this argument and then in the middle of it, like changes the goalposts or does something that completely just changes the foundations of the argument. I feel like whenever I have an argument about meta glasses, that's what happens. That the people making the argument just cannot be consistent in what their argument actually is. And so then they shift to like legalistic arguments, or they'll shift to nonsense straw men about safety. So let me go into why I'm even ranting about this. So this is a thing now, whenever on certain boards or certain groups, people have a discussion about this or content arises about meta glasses, you'll tag me in it because you want me to like jump in and I guess beat them up over it. Is that a fair statement to make?
Yeah, it always cracks me up because you usually you always go after them, which is good, and then I'll usually jump in at the end.
And so it was on the Altoona group. I guess the people running Sci-Fi Valley Con Altoona were basically toying with themselves with the idea of banning meta glasses, and so they were posting about it. And
well, the first thing is a place by the name of Monopoly Events, which was I believe an a con or group in Europe, which Jack Proctor posted. That was the first thing. And then Altoona shared that. And then they opened up the discussion to their people about how that should go and if they should be, taking part in the same band.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, at the end of the day, I was responding to Altoona's post, and the argument was basically their argument in primary form was that people are using these glasses, or they were worried that people were using these glasses to surreptitiously record or to illicitly record people, and it's not fair to let yourself be illicitly or surreptitiously be recorded in public. The idea is that it can catch you in an uncomfortable environment, or they can catch you saying something you don't want to say, or if you're not aware you're being recorded, you shouldn't be recorded. And to me, for a con to make that argument is hilarious, because every single one of these cons puts on its ticket that they have the right, they reserve the right to record you whenever they want when you're at the con, and they have the right to sell those videos without your consent. And that when you buy tickets to a con, you implicitly agree to, you agree to these terms. And so for a con to say, well, we don't feel great about, people being recorded, without their knowledge, I say bullshit, because you do it all the time. And to illustrate that point, I started, because they were making the argument it's not fair to record people without them knowing, I started posting videos that their guests from their tables had recorded of the crowd, and they surely did not ask permission of the people in the crowd to record those videos and post them on social media. And so the part that makes me nuts is not like the question of whether it's allowed or whether you consent or whatever. It's that they're not even consistent in making their own argument. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me that they make the argument that people don't know they're being recorded. In 2026, when you're in a public space, and I know that a con does not fit the legal definition of public space. I mean, but these people you're not arguing with, they're not lawyers, they're morons. But it, for all intents and purposes, functions as a public space. And yet they I don't know, they waver between you have an expectation of privacy or you don't. So I mean, do you think in like a guest should, I guess my question is, do you think a celebrity guest sitting at a table at a con believes for even a solitary second they have an expectation of privacy at a con when they themselves are being recorded by the con the entire friggin' time?
I don't know what they expect is really happening. I think the common theme in all these arguments is the paying customer going to this show, seeing that little written waiver that you can and will be recorded without your consent, that you attending and buying and walking in is your consent. It comes down to the fact that they don't think any of us matter, and the people that do matter are the celebrities and I guess any sort of inconvenience that could come to the show and the showrunners. It's completely different and unfair, and that what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. I don't really understand any, like, oh, you could disable the flashing light. Okay. So I walk up and I go and I meet David Giantoli from Grimm. Let's imagine we're going to Altoona in a couple of months. Do I expect it? Is David Giantoli going to like tell me his bank routing numbers just because he doesn't think he's being recorded? He's going to have a really deeply private conversation. Am I going to get him to admit that he's a Nazi and he hates Jews? Am I going to get him to admit that he votes for Alan Greenspan as a write-in every time, and he's going to put all this stuff out there? I don't think so. These conversations at the show, at the table, are superficial. Even if, let's say, worst case scenario, imagine I disable the flashing light, and imagine I go up to David Giantoli and I ask him how his flight was. Or I ask him what his favorite episode of Grimm was. Or I do what I normally do, which is just stand there and say nothing and just record them signing. And then I post the video on TikTok. Where's the harm? Like, it's not like I'm catching this guy drunk with his mistress. Like, nothing is happening. It doesn't matter. It's really like ridiculous. And if you really want to be crazy about it, I mean, you see a pair of black rimmed glasses, kind of assume whether it's flashing or not that you might be being recorded. Or assume everyone's recording you.
And so here's what happens. We then make these arguments. Rather than address these arguments, what the what the people who are obsessed with banning these glasses do, including the con promoters, they will not address these arguments at all. They won't. Instead, what do they do? What do they
create? They create these fake scenarios where little girls changing in bathrooms are being recorded by pedophiles with meta glasses.
Yep. And so then, of course, there's no way to rebut that absolute insanity, because that's, number one, illegal in every state in the union, and I'm assuming most countries in the world. And I mean, forgive me, I don't think meta glasses are being used for that. I just don't. I think that is an extremely rare thing. I think it happens, obviously, but I think the kind of person who's doing that is intent on breaking the law and is going to be doing that regardless of what product is banned. I'm sure they're going to always be looking for new ways to do it.
That was my point. If you're willing to record children in a bathroom, that is a crime on several levels. Yet the Sci-Fi Valley Con in Altoona, Pennsylvania, banning meta glasses, that is the one rule this pervert with technology is afraid to break. He respects the Altoona law, but he will not respect criminal law that says that recording and filming children is illegal.
And so at the bottom line is, I can't help but, again, and I've said this before, I don't think this issue has anything whatsoever to do with being afraid of someone being recorded without their consent or knowledge. I don't think that's a factor at all. I think the guests are annoyed that they're not able to monetize it. That's what I think. And I also think that the meta glasses will become a non-issue once guests figure out a way to monetize them. That's what I think.
Yep. And I also think enforcement is going to be, I mean, there's tons of videos on TikTok from the autograph tables with meta glasses at Fanatics Fest. And there was rumbles that Fanatics was saying that they were going to ban them at the con, and they didn't. I think enforcement is going to be the same as if you try to take a candid at a table with the star, and the handler might be like, oh, you got to turn that off, you got to take them off. And I mean, if you say no, I guess, your results may vary as to what they'll actually do. But I don't think it's ever, it's never going to really be a thing that you're it's like sneaking in like a bazooka. It's just not. The whole thing is stupid. This is not preventing pedophilia. This is not going to slow pedophilia down. I would love to see an instance where there was any sort of pedophilia at the Altoona Sci-Fi Valley Con, period. I hope there wasn't, because, I mean, who wants that? But, I mean, they act like there's pedophiles running all over. I mean, I guess, honestly, if there was a place in America where there'd be pedophiles running all over, it probably would be Altoona, Pennsylvania. But, I mean...
I hate when people use moral panics to justify, their own opinion on something. It's a moral panic. These people, they see pedophiles under every tree.
If you lack the ability to think and argue and frame out arguments in any sort of a way, that's the best way. Because, I mean, what are you gonna? Are you a pedophile yourself? Are you in favor of pedophiles? How are you gonna argue against this? And it's like,
no, I know. I'm sitting there. That's why I actually just tapped out of the whole conversation. What do I really want to argue with these morons? Because they're all idiots.
Let me address the elephant in the room. You were trying to get yourself banned from the Altoona Con, so you wouldn't have to go to the Grimm reunion.
Perhaps.
Yes.
The thought did cross my mind. I mean, how could I not? You think that was an excellent strategy on my part?
It wasn't a bad move, but luckily they are forgiving. They are much more forgiving than the combo gods. They didn't even block you from the group.
They're much more forgiving than you as a moderator.
I would have banned you and me. Both of you gone. How dare you come on my convention and bring up logic to make my bad arguments look even worse. I would have banned us both. But guess what? You are welcome at the Grimm reunion. So thank you, Sci-Fi Valley Con. We'll see you in a couple of months.
You had sent me a video of Scottie Pippen getting recorded with meta glasses, and he's probably the most expensive convention guest we've seen ever.
Yeah. And listen, that guy was finessing Scottie Pippen like no one's business. Oh, I knew you'd be cool. Like all this stuff, telling him he's the greatest. And listen, Scottie, he was doing his thing. He was giving the inscriptions. He did the fat pen signature deco and then the thin fine point deco for the inscription. He was switching pens. And the metas, no one seemed to know. Maybe he had them disabled, the flash. Maybe he had them covered. Who knows? But, I mean, no one...
I don't know. I think the guy was he finessed him. He was good.
Yeah.
I was impressed, actually. with the guy's finesse. He got a lot of extra. I mean, he got it personalized. Getting the jersey personalized.
That was a mistake. Plus, I think it was one of those really nice, like black and red pinstriped Bulls jerseys that I've literally wanted since I was like 10, and like I just never
the whole
got
thing was
one.
like it was a fortune.
Yeah. One day I'm gonna get one of those like black and red jerseys.
What I don't know. Don't get me started on people buying sports jerseys too. We don't need to get into that rabbit hole of an argument. So anyway, we're gonna keep having these Metaglass things. I mean, we're kind of at the forefront of this conversation, so we keep getting dragged into it. It's just one of those things that makes me crazy. Make a coherent argument that's not legal. I don't care about the legal argument. Lots of things are like, are we talking legal? We're talking ethics. What's the reason? What's the reason for it?
I mean, if we're talking legal, I probably can't leave my horse outside of the general store in Huntington for more than 2 hours on a Sunday. Like, there's all sorts of
Look, it's idiotic. These people they're idiotic. There's no other way to say it. They're idiotic. These people are not smart. They can't think in any consistent way. So you get what we get. All right. Enough for the Metaglasses talk. So we got a lot of reports on Fanatics, a lot of reports. I mean, Ari got tons of people. Cody Rhodes was one. A bunch of the NFL guys. He got all the Knicks, right? Which he even got Jalen.
I don't think he got all the Knicks. He got the big Knicks. I think some of the other Knicks he got at Woodbridge Brewing Company and different places. I got all the smaller ones. I think he got more of the big names. But, I mean, Ari got everybody. I think the coolest thing was he had the Dusty Rhodes shirt, which Cody seemed to pop for. Didn't see very many. Besides that cosplayer, you didn't see that much Dream love down there, so that's always cool.
Vin also was there. He got Floyd Mayweather. Then some of the other wrestlers also got Floyd Mayweather to sign his piece with the Big Show, which is pretty cool.
Nice random shot with Allen Houston, definitely great. And he describes Fanatics Fest as sensory overload.
It kind of is. I mean, in the same way that New York Comic Con is. The vibe is very similar, I think. Of those shows. I
think I'm just sort of, my senses are just like glazed over at this point. I don't think anything. I think literally you could have people shooting confetti out of their anuses and it wouldn't bring me any sort of taxation on my senses. I'm so numb.
So Lee got Scottie Pippen on his Dream Team project. So he's moving along with that project.
That was really sick.
Yeah, talk about a hell of a project to start, right? I was sitting there making fun of you about an Apollo 13 project. This is like crazy to start, right?
I mean, I respect it.
Yeah, God bless. If you're gonna take the bull by the horns and take on, you see what I did there?
Yes, very good.
And take on something big. There's probably no bigger sports project than that, if you think about it, or it's certainly up there.
And probably nothing more. I mean, if you're a hoops fan in any way, shape, or form, like that Dream Team is probably the most important team in basketball history, just in general.
Crazy, yeah. And also, it was like this cultural moment that was really significant. Maurice met Dr. J. Brandon met Michael Rubin. Brandon, among others, met Michael. A lot of people met Michael Rubin. I know I got into a little thing. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. I don't want to talk shit about anyone's.
I'll ban you if you do. You can't bash a report.
I just can't wrap my head around why anyone would want Michael Rubin, someone who literally has done nothing, is nothing. Basically inherited money and is spending it on a vanity project. It doesn't make any sense to me, but.
I would have gotten Michael Rubin, and I know it's not the same thing, but way back when there was a certain rich person that inherited a lot of money that really just hosted reality shows, Donald Trump, who I never got, and now he's the president. Am I saying Michael Rubin's going to be the president? I mean, probably not. But after making that mistake with not having a president, because I still don't have a president, active or former. I wouldn't turn him down if he walked by me. Yeah, I don't know. You know what it was? It was like I saw the one, then I saw someone else posted a picture, and I was like, oh my God, did you see this kind of a lineup? Did you see the TikTok video? Someone saw him the weekend of Fanatics coming out of a hotel or something, a restaurant, and they shouted like, "Yo, Michael, I need a ticket to Fanatics Fest." And he like legit sent some guy over that he was with, and the guy like took the kid, he took the person's like cell phone number and like texted him like a Apple Pass, I guess, to get in. So he was, I mean, I'm sure he knew the cameras were rolling and knew that would kind of get some traction, but he was giving out con passes weekend of the show.
He wasn't giving out, ops with Jalen Brunson, which would have been much more.
He would let you into the show for free to then spend your, thousands of dollars on all the stuff that matters.
I meant to send this to you, but I forgot. I came across a TikTok where it was like from some influencer, and of course, all these influencers should be, put on a rocket and shot into the sun. But about how like he had a media pass for Fanatics.
I think I sent that to you.
Did you? I thought I never clicked it. It came up on my For You page.
Yeah, I sent it to you. That he was complaining that he couldn't get autographs and photos included in his media pass.
Yeah, and so he couldn't. In a media pass, typically you get access to like something. I mean, not autographs, but something. And he got autographs. He got access to nothing with his media pass.
I don't know if you get access. I think even Ira had a media pass once or twice, or Big Chad with the horror movie Barbecue. I don't think he has any like super crazy access when he goes to like New York Comic Con with that. I think he sort of gets into the building, and then he has to create his own opportunity from there. Unless I'm mistaken, Chad and anyone else that has press pass access, fill me in on the show graphic. I don't think it's like that. This guy thought he was going to be in the 40-40 club with Hove. He thought he was going to be getting free ops with Joe Montana. Like, that's not what this was. You have to pay for what you get. Unless you're, maybe you could get some access and schmooze it up. This idiot couldn't even find where the lounge was. And people were commenting like, oh, it was up there to the left. And he couldn't find it over an entire weekend. So he clearly isn't the brightest influencer.
Talk about damning with faint criticism, I guess you'd say. Anyway, where am I on this list? Mandy met Ryan Reynolds, which was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't see too many shots with Ryan Reynolds, even though he was there.
I saw more than I expected. That's what's beautiful about Fanatics Fest. There's very few spots in New York Comic Con, one that comes to mind inside the building where you have any sort of access. And no, I'm not going to reveal that because that would be blowing hippos. We don't blow hippos on this show. But a couple people got Ryan Reynolds, and guess what? Every last photo with Ryan Reynolds hurt my soul because I don't even know if you can really call him rare anymore. That was one of my truly rare shots. And most of the seasoned graphers out there have gotten him now. The last couple of years, he's thored a lot. So, I mean, congrats to everybody. But, I mean, you just talk about yucking someone's yum.
Well, that's really wild that you begrudge people getting... I mean, I'll like roll my eyes at someone getting something, but you begrudging people because it diminishes the value of your photo op with Ryan Reynolds is literally zero. But in your eyes, it diminishes the value if someone else has it.
Oh, I mean, come on. There's people in this hobby that you don't like that you totally would get pissed off if they had something that you're just like me. You'll revel if they're not at something, someone that has annoyed you over the years. And
strangers. If it's someone I know and I don't like, then it's funny if they missed out on something.
I get you.
These are strangers.
And listen, I'm not like angry that someone got Ryan Reynolds, but I think any collector that doesn't have that reaction, if you have something rare, you don't want it to become common. It's deranged. It's not well adjusted, but I mean, it's true. I'm sure Vinny would feel that way if Billy Joel did a book signing with Ops at Bookends when he has something that maybe a lot of the active collectors nowadays don't really have because he's not as easy anymore. Maybe Vinny isn't that insane. Maybe he's less insane than me, and he'd be happy for everyone. I wouldn't be. If all of a sudden Keith Richards did a signing tomorrow, I'd be a little salty, but I'd be happy ultimately. Sort of in a fake way.
I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe Vin, sound off. Would you be mad if Billy Joel did like a book signing and everyone got him? That's an interesting question. Maybe you're just nuts.
I mean, I know I'm nuts, but I feel like I'm nuts in a way that many others are as well. So Vinny and others, show graphic, sound off. Would you care if your big, rare shot, whatever that is, if it became just everyone had it?
What else? Mr. Ira was at Fanatics also, splitting ops with you and with Lanza. Yeah.
And he got Gail King randomly walking around, which, I mean, good for Ira. Who the hell would have thought Gail King would be at Fanatics Fest?
What would you pay for a Gail King photo op?
Probably nothing. I mean, maybe I would do a local book signing if she did.
That's a lie. $20 you would pay.
$20?
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like I'd
do a book signing, which was $20. The book would be $30, $40.
I said maybe I would do the book signing. I don't know. At a con, when I have so many other things to spend money on, I don't know if I would. I feel like I pass on things better than her. Now you got me yucking Ira's yum. I don't know. If it was a book signing in a quiet week for me, maybe I'd go to like Huntington. Probably not. Maybe.
At a con, she's $5.
Oh, at a con, if your aunt that streams movies from your pirated thing, I'd probably pay $5.
So now we've established the baseline. I can keep going. That's the point. Anyway, who else is this?
50 Shades of Ray.
Ray, he got he's a first-time Fanatics attendee. Ray, I'm sorry, giving your money to the machine.
Where the hell has he been all these years?
I don't know. He met Eli Manning, some of the WWE stars. He had an issue with the overcrowded photo op area. Listen. That first year that I went, the first year of Fanatics Fest, that photo op area was unhinged. It was ridiculous. It's my understanding from what you've said, they've even the second time we went, they changed it a lot for the better. It's a lot better than it used to be.
Well, listen, it was worse this time around because they insisted on checking every damn QR code before they let you in. If they let people move freely and go to the lines like they always have, it would have been fine. But you had like 3 to 4 employees that had to check everyone's ticket to make sure they could get on the line to have their ticket checked again. It was dumb. And I say that perhaps as someone who abuses the whole group thing. Maybe I'm part of the problem. But I mean, it definitely made the whole process feel overcrowded when I don't think it really had to.
That's a fair critique. Let's see what they do next time. Juan brought the fam, as he often does to these kinds of things. He got I didn't see his report though. I must have just missed it. What happened with him and Ryan Reynolds?
He got a great shot with Ryan Reynolds and the boys, which is awesome. And here's another thing that is amazing about Fanatics Fest. He purchased 7 professional photo ops and he picked up 29 additional free ones. Between the Starbucks and the Dick's Sporting Goods and the different booths out there, you really could have had a pretty successful weekend just going with your admission ticket and getting all these free ops. There are a lot of opportunities out there. In some cases, the paid opportunity was offered for free. Malik Neighbors, the Giant, Greg and I split that for like $160, and he was at the Dick. He was supposed to be at the Dick's booth right before the paid op doing free ops, which we didn't have time to do with all the other stuff we were doing. And as the combo gods saw fit, they canceled it. So anyone that was trying to get the free op had to then buy one to get it, which was a bit of justice, I guess.
That's kind of ballsy to cancel something like that, no?
Yeah, I'm not sure how or why they did. Maybe it was a decision because his op hadn't sold out. Maybe that was part of it. I don't really know. But it was canceled. Was it replaced? I don't know. But he did not do them. And that's what it was. But where else can you get 29? Find me 29 free ops you can get at New York Comic Con. Or Monster Mania, or Chiller, or any of
years past you couldn't New York Comic Con. The current New York Comic Con you can't. That's a consequence of New York Comic Con just itself going down the tubes.
Yeah. So this show does have some, as much as we like to call it the machine and all these nasty, nasty words, it does have some sort of old school charm where you can get something for free if that's your if that's your bag.
Very fair. Danny, he was there with what did he get? I'm trying to see.
He got Cat and Alvarado. He got the Heisman Trophy. Yes, I said he got the Heisman Trophy. I'm not sure if you can get an inanimate object, but
did you get the Heisman Trophy also or no?
Damn right I did. Definitely.
That's funny.
Christopher Valentine was another one of the Rubenites. He got Michael Rubin.
Why didn't you get Michael Rubin?
I didn't see him. I didn't bump into him.
You didn't think to try and hunt him down at an event like this?
Like I said, if I'm hunting down anyone, it's going to be trying to get Jay-Z walking in and get an invalid shot that is at least better than what I have now. Michael Rubin, I mean, honestly, Michael Rubin's wherever Hove is. So if you see Hove, you're going to probably see Michael Rubin. So, I mean, if I chase Jay, I'll probably see Rubin. But I don't care that much.
Either someone's valid or they're not valid. If they're valid, you must do everything in your power to get them. Is that the rule?
You can't do that. You can't go after everybody.
Yeah, one must discriminate at some point. Let's see who else. I lost my spot. Christopher.
No, you skipped.
You did Michael. Yeah,
I did Christopher.
Christopher
got Michael Rubin. Kennedy had a great time. She got a bunch of the wrestlers, including Kickball Dad, who's a influencer of sorts. I actually found him on TikTok trying to get like fist bumps with different celebrities at Fanatics Fest. I didn't even know who the hell he was until last night. So that's good. Dave had a great week, and he got a bunch of WWE. He got Eli Manning, and he had a surprise encounter with Famke Janssen outside of the Javits Center.
Really? What's she doing there?
I have no clue. He approached her nicely. She was very happy. Apparently, she complimented how like polite he approached her, and she did it. So that was a good hit. Jeff Warner said it was an awesome weekend. Much like me, he prioritized the paid ops over the free ones because of the constantly changing schedule. That's not my reason. My reason is that I'm just an addict and I need to get all these people. And what are you going to do otherwise? But he got Cody, Punk, Liv Morgan, and he said that the biggest issue was parking, that one garage oversold spaces after an hour-long wait, and another charged him twice despite prepaying through Parkways. You can't, it's a rookie mistake. Though those parking garage attendants are scum. They will try if they even smell
anything.
If they smell a different zip code on you, they're going to try. And listen, you got to be ready to knife one of those parking attendants if they're going to try to pull that on you. You can't
metaphorically.
Sure. I mean, I imagine your knife would probably be locked in your car at that point. So how could you? So yes, metaphorically. You have to bleep any of this?
No. Right, no, those guys are the worst.
No, they really are. They got a buddy of mine a couple of years ago, and he paid twice, and I'll never let him live it down because, no, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, man, that's what they do, though.
All right, I think that's it for Fanatics Fest. We had so many new faces. I hope you guys hang around. I hope you share other stuff, unless, of course, you only do Fanatics Fest, in which case we'll see you next year.
I hope we don't, though. I hope Michael Rubin gets the Zika virus from a mosquito bite.
I don't think Michael Rubin's even near mosquitoes. He's too rich,
I guess. No, he goes on one of the dopey exotic vacations that super rich people go on, and he gets bit by a Zika mosquito. Anyway, that is it for. So let's talk about the Lauryn Hill signing. Actually, so you were fretting about the Lauryn Hill signing for days and days and days about whether you should do it, and you ended up not.
Well, let's keep in mind that this is a whole different signing with that we're talking about here.
Okay, well, I'm talking about the one that you didn't do.
Yeah. What about
Let's get to that. So what happened?
Oh, well, I did. My weekend was busy. I wasn't able to do it. And it turned out it was, my friend Dave was there. He waited over 8 hours. 8 hours in the blistering heat. I'll be honest, I'm not a Lauryn Hill fan like that. I like the Fugees.
But if you had showed up in the evening, you would have gotten her, no?
Presumably, but I mean, they said that they were going to cut off the merchandise purchases at 4 p.m. or when they sold out. And if I was 20 minutes away, I would have given it a shot. But having been doing all this other stuff, what was I really going to do? So I didn't do it. I don't feel regret, honestly. I feel regret about the Rick Ross thing. Rick Ross was at Rough Trade. And from what a friend that was there told me, when they were letting people in for Rick Ross at Rough Trade, they said there will be no photos. And in that, at the table, Ross started doing them, and they just happened. But I mean, all signs pointed to no, so I didn't go, and he did them. That I regret more. Lauryn Hill's a bigger legend, but I mean, I'm a much bigger fan of Ross's discography. She has one classic album and a Fugees album that's really good. But anyway, not about me. We're talking about Johnny. Johnny went.
Yeah, Johnny posts a lot of reports that are good. I have to say, credit to Johnny.
Johnny's moving up that card.
He's
a night 2 WrestleMania guy at this point. But he added Lauryn to the Fugees record already signed by Wyclef and producer Jerry Wonder. He said he was so excited he couldn't wait his usual few days before posting. I like the waiting of a few days. I don't always do it, But that is how you make sure that there is no hippo blowing going on, because you wait a couple days. You let the spot die down. You let the hippo, have some dignity and move on into its next stage of life. And he got a great selfie with Lauryn Hill and an almost completed album, because I think one of the Fugees is currently locked up. But as you saw with Max B from a couple of weeks ago, I mean, these artists get out of prison every day. And I mean, there's always a chance.
I think she looked great too. It's just she's so erratic and she's so unpredictable that it's kind of it's hard to commit it. I guess you got to commit a full day.
Honestly, I mean, any other circumstances, I would have done it, but it was a thing at work, which, I mean, I'll get into it a little bit for the half a person that cares. It was like a family thing at my job where, like, my wife could, like, meet, like, these, like, like the kids and stuff that, like, I talk about every day. And just for, like, the sake of her, like, having faces to these names, it was a cool moment to see, like the worlds collide. So with that, I wasn't able to do that. And I picked real life over combos, which the combo gods will not be happy with. But hopefully everything else I'm doing will appease them.
So what else? We should have mentioned it before. We kind of did, actually, that you saw Ari at the...
Yeah, he said that a great report, as he always does. His items look awesome. Check them out. I can't do the items justice in my words, but they really look great.
Also this week was The Gathering in Charlotte. So, I mean, at this point, other than WrestleCon, The Gathering is, I guess, the biggest wrestling con. Would you put it bigger than Big Event, or Big Event is bigger?
No way. Bigger.
Really?
Of course. I don't think that many people go.
I don't think about a Big Event either. I mean, in terms of the number of guests,
I think Big Event's got more guests and more attendees by a lot. The Gathering, I don't think. I mean, there's the vendors that always tell you that they do great. They brought in Rosebud ‑7, and they, I don't
know. I'm looking at the Steiners, the Hardys. I mean, those are all big names.
Well, I read a report that the Steiners left early because it was dead.
But those are two different things. I'm talking about the number of guests. I'm just seeing it in terms of, how many guests they're bringing in.
I don't know. Perhaps it is. But I was definitely jealous of that Rick Steiner Hasbro. That is an expensive one at this point. I got to get that done though. That purple card Steiner set is sick.
So we had a bunch of people say they went to the Gathering. Mike is one. He got the purple card Rick Steiner, as you pointed out. He said Matt and Jeff Hardy went above and beyond, as they always do, pretty much, right?
Yeah, they're the best.
Josh also was there. Again, Matt and Jeff Hardy. He had a dinner with Tito Santana. I'm surprised Tito didn't try and upcharge him at the dinner table for signing the figures. Got a bunch of people on his big gold belt. Got the Brainbusters on his 4-pack, the Horseman 4-pack. Got Kane to do a bunch of inscriptions on his Ultimate. Just lots and lots and lots of stuff. He got a lot of items. So really cool stuff from. It looked like the Gathering was pretty cool. It's just funny for me, like, thinking about that. We used to go to these wrestling conventions and used to get all these people, and I would look forward to all these cons, and they just pass by now, and I don't even give them a second look.
Well, listen, the Gathering, what it comes down to, and that's why you kind of like knocked me off my feet a little bit with the question comparing, and I have to look into that. Which show has more guests? I never had, you don't think of the Gathering as being like overflowing with guests, because the whole point of it is the intimacy, hanging out with Matt and Jeff until 12:30, watching Jeff play guitar. Like, at that point, I assume you're not really getting photos and autos. You're just sort of living in the moment. Like, that's the Gathering. That's what the Gathering is about. If that sounds appealing to you, that's the show for you. And like a Big Event, you're not going to be hanging out with Matt and Jeff until 12:30. Although we almost did with Rick Martel last time that signing went so long. But in general, that's what it comes down to. But seeing these different names now, I'm thinking it might be closer to Big Event in terms of guests than I initially gave it credit.
GalaxyCon Raleigh. Our only report from GalaxyCon Raleigh was Class 316. Did he get anyone there? Did he pay for anyone? I don't think he did. And the only reason he went there, he got as completely unhinged as this sounds. And maybe this belongs in the other section, the board engagement, because he wanted to show. I guess he was there for Kofi Kingston. Kofi was released by WWE, so he's doing the con circuit now. Steve showed him a picture with Kofi that Steve got from 2016. That was a kind of a viral meme of sorts on the internet as an example of awkward fan photos. And then somehow that transformed into Steve taking a picture with Kofi's kids.
Well, you'll never know. And as he said, they were valid because they were in the ring at WrestleMania. But let's be honest. A lot of us would have been chasing Kofi's kids down during the photo op game days because that would have been easy points. John Sig and the different board members that were on there. If you got like Kofi's kids, maybe they don't got it. That might be an easy goal right there for some points. So I get the logic, but in 2026, I mean, we're not doing a photo op game. The photo op game on Facebook now would probably be as big of a dud as the year-end awards almost was. So I don't really see.
Would you have gotten Kofi's kids?
No, that's a little much. If they were like 15 and they were like training, like you can tell. Like if it was Tatanka and Tatanka's kids, I would have taken Tatanka's kids that are like 18 now and training because what the hell. But I mean, at that point, I mean, they could end up being wrestlers and they could not. Just because they were in the ring at WrestleMania, I'm good. I wouldn't have done that.
Fair. Josh did an Al Jardine signing. He had kind of a funny thing. He had purchased a vintage Beach Boys album for really not much more than retail. And lo and behold, when you buy secondhand records or secondhand books, sometimes they come signed and no one noticed. And that was the case for his. And in fact, he bought this Beach Boys record that was already signed by Steven Desper and Dennis Wilson. And so lo and behold, boom, he adds Al Jardine to it. Kind of crazy, actually.
That goes to show that Josh Betancourt is really doing things the right way because the combo gods are smiling on him. That is the kind of luck that can't be explained any other way.
It does seem a little bit fortuitous that happened for him. So good on you, Josh, for making your own luck with the combo gods, right?
Yep. Most active gods in the business.
It's hard to argue with that level of success, honestly. Imagine you buy something and it has all this extra stuff you didn't even expect or pay for. It's
Listen,
great.
Find me an atheist in the combo hunting community. There's hardly any, I don't think. I don't think there's very many at all. And in the world, there's quite a few. So the other gods got to get up to the combo gods level of activity. Show us you're there every day. Come on.
Totally insane. Around this time, Zach Chiara went to Awesome Championship Wrestling and had a great interaction with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, for all of his shortcomings, of which there are many, is a fan favorite, crowd pleaser.
I saw a quick TikTok last night of like a fan with the metas, and they go up to Matt, and I don't give the celebrity this kind of courtesy, but the guy goes, "Matt, do you care if I record with the glasses?" And Matt goes, "I don't give a blank," and did not care one bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's my understanding he's pretty much always fan friendly. That's his reputation. So
yeah, he don't care.
What else? Steven went to the Dallas Card Show and got Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw is one of those names that I would get at a con if he were there, but I am not going to go out of my way. But he's a great name.
He is or was at Bookends, and I had the feeling that I should get him, but that or should have. I think it already passed, but like that Bookends thing is an ordeal for something that isn't like super important. But I digress. Great name, definitely one I'll probably regret when he dies that I didn't get.
Todd went to Baseball Town's wrestling night, met Lita. Lita's always fan friendly too. Likewise, I guess Ric Flair now has a vodka, which, I mean, the jokes kind of write themselves there.
I'm shocked he didn't take like a sip of each bottle he signed.
That would be really funny. But Seth went and got Ric Flair to sign a bottle of his vodka. So that happened also. All right. That's it that's a lot of reports, man. You said there weren't that many reports. That was like a lot.
I mean, people, the marked out universe is running wild.
All right, so get into convention news.
All right, so we got some stuff going on. Fanatics Fest, they were posting videos about if who's ready to run it back for all the people, and we have a great question later in the show from Ari about this. I'm not going to go super deep, but I mean, there's not going to be a Fanatics Fest Kansas City. They're sticking to NYC by the looks of it. They're running it back. Sean can wish all sorts of diseases on Michael Rubin for a whole nother year. I can spend, a mid-sized sedan's value on photo ops again. I just hope it's in June and not July. I think they pivoted to July because of
the World Cup. They basically said
the World
much.
Cup. Yeah. So I'm saying if they go back to June, that makes attending a lot less costly for me, and I would prefer that. So I mean, Mike, if you're listening, June works for me. Thank you. I'll see you in a couple months.
I don't know. It is kind of weird to start promoting the event a year out. No.
I mean, what's promoting? We don't know a date. We don't know a guest. We don't know anything. It's just sort of like, it's just letting them know that, we're coming back. And I mean, I guess, honestly, who doubted that they were coming back? I mean, there was apparently also rumors going around that WWE this isn't a rumor, but the WWE had a very successful Fanatics Fest. And apparently Fanatics wants them to sort of play a bigger role in the next one. And the names that were being floated, which it may have been clickbait, I'm not sure, but they were floating Stone Cold and Bret Hart. And I think Stone Cold on the East Coast is long overdue. That would be tremendous for the people that need him. I would, in theory, get an autograph, but who knows?
Would you get another op with Stone Cold?
I've been struggling with that thought, honestly, ever since I shared that on the group. I don't know. Because, I mean, one can argue I'd be paying, even with a split, I'd be paying probably $200 and something for simply an older Stone Cold. When we got him, he was closer to his peak than he is now. But probably just because, I mean, the same way I got the Hulk Hogan upgrade. Like, for someone of that importance, that level of importance, I think I would want a newer one, I guess. So probably. But it's not normal.
You have two Austins, right?
One.
Oh, I have two.
Yeah, I didn't do the gun show. I didn't do the Yonkers, whatever the hell that was with the Best Buy. I did none of it.
That was the FYE.
FYE. I don't know why. I have no good reason. I didn't do it. I think because I had them already, and I'm like, why do I need them again? So yeah, I probably would. And I would wish they would offer, if they're bringing in Bret Hart, which would have, I love Bret a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't need him there. I would love a Stone Cold Bret Hart group up. That would make me feel better about getting Stone Cold again. But we know Fanatics doesn't think like that. Like there was no Montana Rice group up. Like there's a lot of, they could have done Scotty and Dennis. They didn't do that. They just don't do that. So talk about missed opportunities.
Did we ever get to talk about the Usos? It never came up. You said you want to talk about it later. It never came up.
Oh, I forgot. Yes. Okay. So Jimmy Uso, I had the Jimmy Uso photo op. He was supposed to be 10 o'clock or 10:30 or 11 o'clock. One of those, or it was, I think 10:30. And as I'm gathering up all my duffel bags, there was an email that said it was now moved to 4 p.m. And I was thinking about it. I checked like the Dick's booth to see if there was anyone good I could have killed time like getting for free. I actually even checked the pro op schedule. I'm like, can I buy something else that I didn't get? Can I trade it for something else I didn't get that I could use at an earlier time? And I had stuff to do later in the night. I didn't think I'd be that late because it was scheduled the way it was scheduled. So Ira ended up just taking it, and he got it.
I thought Jimmy ended up no showing. He showed up.
I think he did. Someone made some comment that he made people wait and bailed on people, but I saw photo ops on Instagram. I was checking his like tagged photos, so some people got it. I don't know how many, but I saw ops.
Yeah, I thought he completely canceled based on those comments.
Well, I mean, I definitely saw ops. He didn't completely cancel, but it sounded like he made people wait, and perhaps not everyone was satisfied.
Interesting.
And the opposite of interesting are these Monster Mania ads. The Cherry Hill show added Catherine Corcoran from Terrifier, which, I mean, whatever. I don't know if anyone, a nice Monster Mania name. They always need the smaller ones on the card. And Baltimore added Cassandra Peterson, who has truly stuck by her guns of not being Elvira anymore. She comes out as herself. She hasn't put on the dress. She doesn't do the whole gimmick. We'll see if Sting is as successful as she is at like staying out of the paint.
I think it's a little bit this for her. It's interesting. I mean, she's an older woman now. I mean, she kept herself in like insanely ridiculous shape. So like, she could always still put on the costume. for an older woman, I mean, it's actually alarming how good shape she's in, you know. But I suspect that's not the most fun thing to do. To get all up in that. So I don't know. Maybe I mean, the thing about her, the truth of it is, Elvira is a freaking draw. It's actually crazy how well she draws. So I guess you know how it goes. If she can draw anyway, why would she bother?
Yeah, it's the same thing as Freddie. How good would Robert do in the gimmick? But he doesn't have to.
Yeah. Would you do you feel any kind of way about not going to Monster Mania this summer, or are you at peace with it?
I'm at peace with it, but if I didn't have the conflict, I would have been going because I want Malcolm McDowell.
That's fair. Rhode Island Comic Con, they did add Charles Fleischer. Do you need Charles Fleischer, or do you got him?
I didn't get him. I don't know if I need him though. I was never really a Roger Rabbit guy. I saw like bits and pieces, and it always looks kind of stupid. But
are you serious?
I'm no. It never really appealed to me too much.
No, you have to. If you've never actually seen the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you have to watch it. It's actually excellent. I got Charlie Fleischer years ago at Monster Mania in Connecticut, and he hasn't done much. So is
he worth getting? Should I get him?
You should. Yeah, he's legit. Also, check his credits. He's done a lot of stuff. He's been a voice actor for a lot of things and an actor for a lot of things.
Oh, crap. He's in the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get him.
They also added Christopher Lloyd, who seems to do every convention at this point.
Remember when he was like rare and kind of like a big deal?
Yeah, that Wizard World Philly that time when they had the Christopher Lloyd, Michael J. Fox reunion of sorts. I remember bugging out.
He's kind of like that Black Zombie now, except just like a bigger price tag. But I mean, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy that always hams it up and has no price sign?
Eugene
Clark.
That.
Eugene Clark. I'd like to, he's more than just a Black Zombie. Arguably, he's the Black Zombie. I don't think there's any others of any real notoriety.
He's from that last, Dawn of the Dead movie. So
that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying I wanted to give him his actual name on the show. I just didn't remember it because he's another one like Virgil, where he's kind of like, oh, ha, ha, ha. But like he's not a bad name, and he comes in the gimmick. It's a cool op. Like he does.
No, had he not done, the issue is that he does every con under the sun, so it's like he's overexposed. But
he ruins
same as Virgil, really.
Yep.
Steel City Con. Explain your notes here because I don't understand them.
Jenna Coleman canceled, but Karen and Arthur are still there. So I guess the Doctor Who conglomeration is going on, just as down one. So that is the news out of Steel City. For New Jersey HorrorCon, Sean Patrick Flannery has like come out of like his hyperbolic chamber, and he's back. He's back on the con scene. We haven't seen him in these parts in quite some time, and he has that reunion with Norman we talked about last week down in Tampa, and now he's just making the rounds. So he's back.
Fan Expo Chicago, they were pimping an incredible ad. You got all excited. They were all speculations, and it's Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi is a great name.
To be fair, I kind of expected Sam Raimi, but I mean, you always hope for something better. I
thought you were expecting John Carpenter.
Was I? Oh.
Yeah. In any case, they're about the same level of names. Sam Raimi is a great name. We did Cherry Hill for Sam Raimi, so we don't need him. They also added some. They adjusted so that Mark Shepard and Mark Pellegrino are all 3 days as opposed to limited schedule. They did, however, cancel Daphne Keane, Peter Cohen, and Miranda Otto. That's kind of a kick to the nuts for you.
Daphne Keane was, but it turns out, I guess, she's still doing Dallas. I didn't think she was ever doing Dallas, but she is, I guess.
Daphne
she's on the photo
Dallas.
op. I'm saying she's on the photo op page. So I have to. So I will be bringing my Wolverine, my Logan print, just on a different flight. So she's in Dallas, so that's fine. But what stings, especially, I feel for the little rat who had a bunch of Eeyore stuff ready. Peter Cullen's a blow for him. For me personally, as far as the voice actors went, I was more interested in Frank. So I'm not that broken up about it, but I wanted the voice of Eeyore. So that sucks.
There you go. Dallas Fan Expo added Jason Patrick. I do have the op already with Jason Patrick that we got at the Hippo that time. I never got the graph from Jason Patrick on my Lost Boys poster. So the question is, do I bother with that?
You're already bringing the suitcase. You might as well throw it in.
I ain't waiting on a line for that. That's the thing.
Here's the reality. This would be. I really should try to get my hands on that like bigger print because I could get him on that. It comes like the ones I've been looking at are pre-signed already by Kiefer and actually no, that was already signed by him too. Never mind. If I get him there, I'd be starting a Laserdisc, which would be locking myself into doing Kiefer at some point or there, which I wouldn't have time there. So I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm still not satisfied with that 8x10 like poster image. I got to do better for one of my all-time favorite movies. I just don't know what I don't know what better looks like.
I mean, another news from Dallas. Dallas had some pretty significant cancellations. David Wenham, who is a big name, does not do cons very often. Big Lord of the Rings name, canceled. Peter Cullen looks like his run with Fan Expo is over. Corey Feldman is out, and as is Jameson Newlander. So that again, kind of they added Jason Patrick for the Lost Boys reunion, but then they lose Corey and Jameson, so it's like they lose the Frog Brothers. So I don't know.
And
not great.
And Laz Alonso is back. He's re-added to the lineup. So we have cancellations
for there and for Boston.
Yeah, so we have cancellations, additions, and re-additions. So quite a busy week out of Dallas.
Big Event has added Ric Flair. They've also, for kind of an unusual thing, turn of events for Big Event, they have added a Bret Hart, Ric Flair dual photo op. They're claiming that's limited to 100. I don't think they're going to sell 100. That's a little bit of a hard sell. But you said you're tempted by it.
I am.
That's wild to me.
I mean, you're talking, these are two guys on my top 5 all time.
But their connection to each other is limited at best.
I guess, but I mean, they've had some matches.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bret won the world title from Ric Flair at a house show, right?
Yeah.
So that's the connection, I guess. But they never really had a
house
program.
show. But I mean, it aired on Coliseum Video. So actually, I don't think it was a house show. It was a dark match.
No, it was a house show. Definitely a house show. That's like a thing. It's part of like wrestling lore. That's a house show. They recorded it, but anyway, I don't know. They never really had like a major program together. You know?
No. I mean, I'm not saying I'll do it. I probably won't. And the news out of this whole thing is Ric Flair is seemingly done with Fitterman. He made a post about that. He's with some new person. I think it's something Solomon. I sent you a screenshot of it last night. Something Solomon. And he thanked Ryan Fitterman for making him more money than he's ever made in his life, which I can't fathom how that's possible. But I mean, sure, that sounds good, I guess. And now I think for this appearance, I believe Big Event is somehow handling it. I'm not even sure what the hell's going on. But Ric Flair is at Big Event without Fitterman. And I mean, I hope he shows up because I think I got some stuff brewing there on a personal level and on a business level. So, I mean, I hope he's there. We'll see.
We've been hoping for this to happen, and it happened. Sometimes the combo gods do deliver when asked. They announced that Dan Aykroyd is doing a book signing with photo ops at Bookends. Are you pumped for that?
I'm pumped, but let's be clear. If we go on, I'm going to go on right this second to be completely accurate. If we go on the link on Bookends, there is no, at least there wasn't when I last checked, there was no actual in writing mention of photo ops. We have our community. It still is the same way. It does not say it in writing, but our community is filled with, I guess, for lack of a better word, real pains in the ass. And our very own Richard Lowe's was commenting and contacting Walter from Bookends, who I think is the manager, according to Richard Lowe's. I have no idea. And he said that you will be able to get a photo with Dan Aykroyd at the book signing. Obviously, everything is subject to change. Nothing's in writing yet. I would imagine for a reason. So, I mean, it is what it is. But more often than not, Ridgewood is pretty good. Bookends is not bad for photos. Aykroyd himself, as we know, the talent is what's driving these vehicles. And the amount of times Aykroyd would do these bottle signings and not take photos are very limited. He more often than not did them. So, I mean, I'm not worried. We instantly purchased without even asking, figuring it'll happen or we'll make something happen, and it is what it is.
I'm not too worried. I think it'll be all right. Aykroyd's known for being mega fan friendly. I'm not concerned.
Agreed. And then,
finally, New York Comic Con has some wrestling ads. They added DX, Billy Gunn, the Road Dogg, and X-Pac.
this is a group op that isn't really offered or gotten very much. And I get someone like you would be driven up a wall. There's no Sean, there's no Hunter, there's no China. Who would ever want this? It doesn't have the sizzle of Hall, Hogan, and Nash. But it's not a bad group op that not that many people have. It's kind of cool.
I don't disagree. I think it's a cool op. I mean, for me, I would just do the Outlaws without X-Pac as the more meaningful group. But I'm okay with it. Sure, they'll make some money on that.
Yeah.
We had a great Wicked Ache Wednesday this week. Ken posted his Kelsey Grammer Frazier Funko Pop. Greg 2600 posted a McMahon family photo that he finally added Stephanie McMahon to. And then Eric posted a Harrison Ford signed Han Solo playing card.
Yep. And Photo with Friday this week, I went with 4. I didn't even talk to you about it. I just went rogue. Jeff Hahn posted a nice old school shot with Jennifer Aniston. That's one you don't see very often. This is a Richard Lowe's kind of week. He got Linda McMahon at some sort of, I don't even know what the hell it was, but he got Linda McMahon. Mark Miller, our resident legend, and hopefully in the far, far distant future, some sort of a combo god, got Carol O'Connor. And at this point, I had the list all complete, and then Scott Ferenzi dropped his shot with Mr. Perfect and stunning Steve Austin, all holding beers, and just one of the coolest shots, in my opinion, I've ever seen in any wrestling collection. And if he posts that every single week, I'll be tempted to pick it every single week.
It was a good shot. Great shot. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. If you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Make sure to get your Marked Out Radio merch. If you want to represent that Staten Island blue shirt, you got to buy it. So it and others are available, not Others Innocente, but other shirts are available on our ProWrestlingTees.com shop. Please see the link below or check out the pinned post on Facebook. And if you're coming to one of our Sharpie socials, you want to make sure to wear it for the group picture. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, and make sure to leave us a rating or a review. So on to the main topic. Did we mention it last week or not at all?
It didn't. I mean, if we did, we probably would have been the ones that we killed him. He wasn't dead yet.
Oh, I wasn't sure what day it was. So the promoter of Chiller Theater, Kevin Clement, has died. This has not come as a tremendous surprise for those in the know. Kevin's been sick for quite a while. There were fundraisers for his medical care that were going around, and people had been saying that things were not looking great. And so with the death of Kevin, there does come some interesting introspection. And it has to, again, because we can't be human and just talk about someone's death. We have to relate it to the hobby. And so the question kind of necessarily comes up. What does the death of Kevin mean for the hobby?
Well, first of all, I think before we look at the hobby at large, I think we have to look at Chiller itself. I mean, this guy was referred to as Mr. Chiller, and he's had health issues for quite some time. And I know that there's other people sort of in the cockpit at Chiller. It's not just him. The same way Monster Mania is not just Dave at this point. You have Doug and the other kids and grandkids that all have their role. So, do you think Kevin passing, is this going to change? Is it going to make it better? Is it going to make it worse? Is it going to jeopardize the future of Chiller, or is Chiller going to go on sort of unaffected? All while of course missing their fearless leader.
I mean, it's my understanding that much of the for lack of a better word, grunt work, much of the ground level work was by this point performed by others for Chiller. So I don't think that the day-to-day operations of Chiller will be affected too much. That being said, Kevin himself knows a lot of people. He's been around forever. and that that helped grease some wheels with certain guests. The fact that Kevin could make a phone call, and so there is some question about the long-term impact that his passing will have on Chiller. But to me, the more interesting, the sort of bigger picture question is that I think we're slowly seeing the disappearance of, for lack of a better word, the small convention. And Chiller is one of the biggest small conventions. And what I mean by a small convention is that it's run by a single proprietor. Monster Mania is run by Dave and his sons. That's a small convention. Chiller is run by Kevin. But other ones like, New York Comic Con is run by Reed Pop. Fan Expo is run by Fan Expo. Rhode Island is run by Altered Reality Entertainment. These companies that are somewhat shielded from the public, and we don't know exactly what their operations look like. We don't know who is running the day-to-day operations. Is it a team of 1, a team of 5, a team of 50? We're not really sure. And frankly, because they're corporatized, they're designed that way on purpose, that we're not really meant to know. And so the kind of bigger picture question is whether this inevitable, this thing, look, death is inevitable. Does this sort of hasten the overall disappearance of the single promoter run cons?
And let's go one layer deeper on this. Yeah, so I don't want to judge any over the top or big reactions, but there were people posting videos in tears. And I mean, I personally never really interacted with Kevin. I know you had, which I mean, this isn't the time or place to share, but you had with the Olivia and Leonard, you had moments that you sort of observed how he was. And I mean, that's about all I think we can really share from our experience. There was no real sadness from me, just for lack of, I have no reason to be sad. I don't know the person, but is that a good thing, or is that a bad thing where you have a situation where a con, a big small con, that these people, these fans that went to these shows, that so many of them felt such a connection. If the guy in charge, the 1A of Reed Pop, if he jumped off of a bridge right now, no one would know. No one would care. We don't know. James Cronkite from Reed Pop is dead. Are people going to be posting videos crying? No one knows who he is. Is it better that you're not going to did Chiller get away with weak lineups because people felt if you're this sad in death, are you really going to criticize them in life? Maybe the Chiller lineup sucked and you still would go because you got to support Kevin. That's such a powerful thing in this hobby. You got to support blank. You gotta go. You gotta support them. You gotta be loyal. Is there less loyalty with the corporate machine now? And
I think absolutely yes, in my opinion. Absolutely yes.
Better?
Say again.
Is that better? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are we losing the human element of this whole thing?
Yeah, I think it's bad. Overall, because again, we've talked about this many times on this show. What makes the community at least somewhat interesting is its sense of community. Monster Mania has a certain flavor to its shows, a certain vibe to its shows. So does Chiller, right? Chiller has a certain vibe to its shows. There's a certain community impact. There's a community aspect there. One of the things that is true of Fan Expo, Fan Expo is about as corporate as you get. Which on a pro level works because you get in, you get out, you take care of your business and you leave. But there is the drawback of it, there is no, sense of community, sense of loyalty. That all the shows kind of look the same. There's no local flavor to the shows. So you don't have a diversity of vendors. You have all the same stuff over and over and over again. It depends on what kind of show that you like. But I think that shows like Chiller and like Monster Mania allow some of the smaller guests an opportunity to carve out a living for themselves that the other shows do not provide.
I agree. And perhaps maybe we are kind of, exaggerating what this means. Perhaps this isn't any sort of a shift in the sort of the structure of the common con. Perhaps we've missed this, the smoke coming from the Vatican. And perhaps a new pope is coming, and we're gonna all of a sudden there's gonna be a new person. I think one of the guys is Eddie, and there's different people that have been doing a lot of the day-to-day work for years. is it possible that one of them sort of becomes the new Kevin and people start developing that connection and that relationship? And it's the same thing. And Chiller will go on through, a whole new regime, sort of, as far as the figurehead would go. And it's not going to change. And it's going to keep going. And 50 years from now, Chiller and Monster Mania are still going with a human that we know and see and, can feel sad if something would happen to them.
I don't know. I don't know. You're right in the sense that we're trying to like speculate or assign meaning to something that may not have any broader meaning. It just may not. I do think though, there are far fewer single proprietor shows than there used to be. I think even the shows, Chiller was kind of the last of its kind. Monster Mania has even, I don't want to say become more corporatized, but it has a little bit more than Chiller. Monster Mania moved to the VIP model and the line jumps, and the Chiller never really had that. And that wasn't really a thing that Chiller did. You go to Chiller and you do your thing and you leave, Chiller, even the way Chiller handled pro photo ops, most people are not getting pro photo ops at Chiller compared to Monster Mania. The pro photo op system is much more, rigorous, much more rigid, much more organized. Chiller, look, I'm just going back to Olivia. We did gangbusters business for Olivia that weekend, and we sold almost no pro ops. It wasn't a significant source of revenue.
That's because people kept trying to get the group up at the table.
I don't think that's the reason. I think it's because of the.
I'm joking. I was just trying to get you fired up. But
I'm just talking about how Chiller operates. Chiller really is the biggest of the small cons. It very much operates like a small con, despite the fact that sometimes its budget was big. And I'm curious if the new leadership continues in this vein. Do they shift to a slightly different model? I don't know.
I'm not even sure if they really can. How much of it being smaller was a choice, or was it just the caliber of guests that they had? You can't, you can't turn, you can't turn a shed in your backyard into Madison Square Garden.
Selling VIP. It wasn't like Chiller didn't have that much smaller guests than Monster Mania, but Monster Mania sells VIPs. Chiller never did. What if
Monster Mania, Monster Mania can sell VIPs because they have Robert Englund's there that you wait online the entire day.
Chiller had Ace Frehley. Chiller's had Monster Mania. Chiller has had Robert Englund before. They've had guests of that size.
Was Robert Englund when they had him?
Chiller had Ralph Macchio. They had Linda Hamilton. They had people who were VIP level names.
Well, here's the reality. Olivia, the year we were there with her through Bob, she was the biggest line of that weekend. And no one would have needed a line jump with her. The line was how long? 40 minutes, maybe you get through the line. Like there was nothing like a Lillard, like an England today that you legit would wait 7, 6 hours, 8 hours on the line. I have not seen Chiller with someone like that in at least since I've been going since COVID. Again, I have not seen anyone like that.
Did they try for it? Is my question.
I kind of assume they always have been. They just weren't successful.
But they haven't. Because they haven't tried the whole selling the VIPs, selling the.
But you have to have a guest that necessitates it. They haven't had it. Who's buying a VIP for Highlander?
It's not like it's hard to book Robert Englund. You just give him the guarantee and assure him of the guarantee and book him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you're acting like it's not some like rocket science or something. He does the cons.
I don't think they would touch the guarantee because I don't think Chiller draws to the level that it would actually be. It would be suicide. I think Chiller's a step below Monster Mania. They're not getting the people like that because they wouldn't make the money in that weekend that they would make at Monster Mania.
But isn't that a chicken or egg question?
I don't think so. I don't think.
Monster Mania used to be a much smaller show than Chiller. 20 years ago, Monster Mania was a smaller show than Chiller. It became a bigger show because they put more money into booking bigger guests. That was it. It was a direct consequence of their decision making. So
well, considering they've just gone to a smaller venue, I'm not expecting them to try to go bigger. I think they would, if anything, they're going back to their roots. They would have to upgrade, not downgrade. So I don't think they're going to go in that direction. I don't think they would have the nerve to go in that direction because that's a ballsy move.
Yeah, depends what their goals are, right?
Yeah, let's see. Well, wait and see. Let's see what the first post Kevin Monster Mania, I mean, not Monster Mania, Chiller Theater looks like.
We will see. I mean, ultimately, I suspect this upcoming one is somewhat in the tank, or not in the tank, but in the pipeline, I guess, as far as being booked. I think a lot of it's probably booked already. It's my understanding that Kevin was hands off when it came to the booking, but had final say over every guest. Right. So I'm very curious what the next what this show looks like.
Yeah, we've always heard that talk that there's agents that like won't work with Kevin and different people. I know, Tom had his issues with Chiller. Without Kevin now, is a big event in New York, Chiller Theater collaboration. Is that going to come a couple years down the road the way we had a big event, Eternal Con? Who knows?
We'll see. All right, it's time for some questions. So Chris asks, when you know you have a combo or just a photo op coming up, do you properly groom for it? Do you shave, get a haircut, or dress nicely? Or do you keep it casual? Personally, if I have a once-in-a-lifetime photo op, I would try to look my best so I feel good about myself and looking back at the photo years later.
So it's a good question. I kind of treat it like any other day. I want to look nice. I typically think I do look, nice in a casual way. Truth be told, a lot of what I wear in my photo ops is what I wear to work. I don't really there isn't like a more formal style of my dress except for like funerals and weddings and stuff. That's kind of how I am. I don't really get haircuts. I'll try before like a really big con. I'll try to time it, but I often don't. I just get them when I get them. I'm probably deranged enough where I kind of like, I could probably stand there in a diaper and a football jersey and I would feel fine about myself because I'm just, I'm deranged. I'm confident, but I'm also like, deranged. I don't know. This question's kind of given me a little bit of an existential crisis. Like, do I do enough? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I usually try to, if I have a bigger con coming up or I'm spending a lot of money to con, I try to time a haircut before. I usually try to wear clothing that is at least somewhat thematically linked to at least one of the photo ops or some of the photo ops that I'm going to get. So I do make decisions, based on that. I do. Am I always consistent with it? So do I sometimes last minute run out of time to shave? That happens sometimes, but I generally try to. Some people go dressed to the nines for these things. We've seen that, and other people are, a slovenly disaster. So I think it runs the gamut for most people. I generally try at least to be somewhat prepared.
And I'll be completely I'll be a little bit nasty, I guess, for a second. I kind of think the people that come decked out in suits like Gary G. Watson, I think that's honestly just as insane as like a bald Mulrennan like stained t-shirt. Like I think you look just as like out of place and weird as you would if you were the opposite, that you like you were homeless. I think there's a happy medium between like my level of casual to like a business casual. And if you sort of tip the scale any way beyond that, I think you kind of look a little different. But I mean, who the hell am I to judge? Whatever makes you happy.
All right, second question. This one comes from Ari. What do you think about everyone on X or Twitter discussing? I'm not on X or Twitter. Discussing whether Fanatics Fest could eventually put the National out of business. Since Fanatics owns Tops, are they really competing or are they different events? Is Fanatics like Disneyland versus Disney World, where one destination ends up hurting regional attractions? Does Fanatics Fest eventually need to move out of the Javits Center to achieve that?
I think it's an example of X and social media in general. Everything is tribalism. Everything is this competition. Denzel versus Will Smith. Who's the better actor? It's like, who cares? Like, why are we pitting these things against each other? I don't want to speak for Michael Rubin. I don't feel like he really is worrying or thinking too much about the National. He's doing what he's doing. I would think the National's doing what they're doing. I would think, I think the Disneyland, Disney World thing is kind of a fine comparison, or Disney World and Universal or SeaWorld or whatever. I don't really see why this would have to, or even, why would it put something out of business? I think, do we really think he's going to go to Chicago to try to run the National out of, like what's the point? I think he's very comfortable, Rubin, at the Javits Center. I think it works. He has Jay-Z, he has all these different celebrities that come and make it feel big. he does his thing. I don't think he cares. I really don't.
All of that said, there is a difference between trying to compete versus competing, right? And at the end of the day, there is a limited number of dollars in the space that can be spent. And I guess so the broader implied question is, a show like The National, these are largely nostalgia type events. And nostalgia type events have run a certain kind of way with certain kinds of guests. And, if they might be seeing a reduction in revenue as a consequence of a show like Fanatics. I mean, that's how these things work. There's a limit. It is a fiction that, if everyone in the space is doing well, everyone does well. Some of these guys cannot compete. And so there is a question. I'm not sure I have the answer to it. I think it is an interesting one. I'm not, it's very hard because it's very hard for us to talk about how big Fanatics actually is. It's bigger than all of the other companies. It's significantly bigger than Fan Expo. It's bigger than Reed Pop. It's way bigger than these companies. So what its impact on the market can be felt in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, and I think my closing point would be, I'm not sure like what happens in New York. I don't know how much impact it has into Chicago. I think the people that have the money to travel to Javits Center from maybe a different part of the country, or that they would typically go to the National, I think it's quite possible they have enough money to do both. Like,
but forget about what about the impact that Fanatics and its pricing and its structures have on secondary autograph values, for example?
Is that a Fanatics Fest issue or a Fanatics private signing and website issue? I mean, Fanatics is around.
I think they're connected, though.
Yes, I'm saying so. I mean, Fanatics has been around for forever. So I mean, not forever.
It has not been around forever. It's only a couple of years. I don't think we even really have fully seen, especially in the autograph space. They really only got seriously in the autograph space in the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, I mean, so I would argue that's forever. Since COVID, this entire business has changed dramatically. What was before COVID to what is now is unrecognizable. So as far as the current climate, the boom, National, I'm sure the National has had a boom the last couple of years since COVID, the same way Fanatics has risen. I don't think the actual physical convention in New York City matters in terms any more than the Fanatics business model does on the .com. I know what you're saying. It's all connected, but I don't think they're going to be trying to like, let's do a Fanatics Fest Chicago to run the National out of business. I don't think they would. I don't think that matters. Is the process of Fanatics existing going to hurt them? Like you said, we have to wait and see. But I don't think it would be a conscious effort of like Vince McMahon style. We're going to put the territories out of business.
No, I don't think there's any benefit to them to do that either. At the end of the day, shows like that help them move their merchandise, which is really what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I think they can all coexist. I think there's going to be people that do one or the other for geographic reasons. And I think you're going to have the high rollers that make all the people jealous on the groups that do both because they have money and they have opportunity and they're doing it and they should do it. And you got to understand that these are sports shows. This is not like, there isn't a New York Comic Con, Rhode Island. A lot of these sports collectors don't do what I do. I do everything. And I'm extra sick for that. And a lot of people just do this. You do the National, you do Fanatics Fest. How many other cons do you really have to do in your year? So you do 2. Boom. And the .com is interesting. We got to see what Fanatics does. It's like High Spots, but on a much bigger scale. Where like when they're on the block, you have to pay attention because they do things at a different level than anyone else can.
That's what happens when you have $1 billion backing. I think so much of Fanatics is connected to the sports card market also, which is like a whole other. I just don't know enough about it. It's a whole other boondoggle. The sports card market. And then finally, Brandon, how does it feel that you cannot complete your poster because of the passing of Sam Neill and they can never have a true reunion? What did you, meaning me, what did I do to the combo gods?
I don't know what you did.
I don't know, man. Listen. The reality is that most of these shows, most of these promoters are incompetent. I mean, I talked about it last week. They're not ambitious. They take the path of least resistance, and I understand why. The reason why is because so many people have lost their shirts running cons. Running cons is largely not a profitable business. It's just not. That's why that's why even like shows that were wildly successful, like Walker Stalker. We were in a Walker Stalker show that was so crowded it had to be shut down by the fire marshal. I have never felt in my life more in danger than on that one Walker Stalker floor where I was so smushed so tightly that if there was an emergency, there was no way out. So, and yet Walker Stalker was out of business within 2 years after that event because they weren't making any money. And so most of these shows, people have to understand, most of these shows are not making any money. And that might be hard for them to wrap their brains around, but it's just true. The people who are making money at these cons are the celebrities. That's it. The vendors, most of them are not making any money. The promoters, most of them are not making any money. The agents, most of them are not making any money. That's how it goes. The celebrities are making money. And even some shows, they don't make any money. It's just, there's like expense that goes into these things. That's just how it goes. So, do I feel good about this poster? No. And what's funny is, we actually didn't bring it up yet, but Everest Autographs just announced they're going to be doing a private signing with Laura Dern. And so now the question is, do I send this poster out for Laura Dern? Because if I get Laura Dern, Wayne Knight, B.D. Wong this fall, now I pretty much have the entire main cast other than Sam Jackson and I guess the lawyer, but I'll never have Sam Neill. So what do you do?
Well, I guess you got to tune in next week when we get into that deeper, and we'll see what your decision is, if you have one.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's the question. Do I? Because I was talking to the little rat the other day about this. Do I just retire this poster? Do I just kill it, or do I just treat it like, all right, Sam is now done. Let's get everyone else. I'm not sure I have an answer for that.
I'm gonna wait until next week to get into this more.
All right. That's the only thing I can do about the question, It will be a kick to the nut. It will be a kick to the nuts if Laura Dern gets added to New York Comic Con, don't you think?
Yeah. But it'd be a real kick to the nuts if you send this thing off and it's like it's stuck in like through the mail limbo and you're like looking at her at the table. That would suck.
Totally insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately there's time to worry about that.
Yep.
All right. So what's coming up for us? We got aren't I supposed to do the promo? This got disappeared from here.
Yeah.
That's so annoying. Once again, sorry. We have this template going for the show lineup, and the template just gets changed. It's whatever, it's fine. If you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join and participate in the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. All right, so what's coming up for us?
Well,
Chicago Fan Expo is real soon.
It is. And we will be there. We will be eating sausages with the little rat at Portillo's. Come on out. Come see us. Wear the Marked Out shirts. We're going to see Mr. T. It's going to be a good weekend. And we didn't even hype or tease this. It's an up and coming talent, so it's probably not really worth that much hype and teasing. But we are back in the game. We have a private signing coming up with an up and coming athlete, the pro wrestler by the name of Livia. She is 19 years old. She's currently in NWA. She's from the New England area. I think she has a bright future. I think any talent that gets it at this age has so much time to get the polishing and all the other things that go along with it. We will be with her. We will have exclusive designs, $20 per print. As you see with our eBay store with the Vanity Project, those prices go up. So if you want to get her now as a little scratch off lottery ticket that you can say you got her way back when, this is the time to do it. It feels good to be back doing what we do best, which is sort of, looking for upcoming talent that we can sort of work with and I guess ride their coattails and help build them up in the process and make some money. So hopefully Livia has a bright future.
From what I've seen, she's dynamite.
What
else we got? once again in August we have the Keanu Reeves Simple Plan show, which are both happening the same day. So that's going to be still an adventure that has not yet been worked out on my end and won't be until that day. And then you got Chance the Rapper. Was that in August or September?
It's the same week as Keanu. Keanu's like Wednesday, and this is Friday.
Yeah. And then, of course, Dallas Fan Expo in September, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. We got to find a place in Dallas to get like actual Texas barbecue. Like we can't do this. We can't do a Sharpie social at like, I don't know, like a Burger King. And that's coming from me. Like, even if we cost more money, I gotta have Texas barbecue of some sort.
I like how you're saying that to me. Like, of course I'm gonna want to do that. You are the one who always wants to do the other thing. I always do that kind of stuff. I don't care. I had Kansas City barbecue for the first time this year. I'm excited to try Texas barbecue.
Speaking of, remind me, I gotta sign up. Listeners, remind me as well. I have to sign up for my Portillo's reward membership before my birthday. So I will get the birthday reward, and hopefully it doesn't expire before we're out there.
I signed up for it. You didn't do it. I did it as soon as we booked the thing.
No, I didn't. I have to. I'm going to do it today.
So yeah, I think we're good.
We're good.
So a busy couple weeks ahead. This summer was probably, it's funny because we didn't do too much combo hunting. I mean, you did more than I did, but it wound up being one of the busier summers in recent memory.
It's not over yet.
No, not by almost half over, basically. And it's been very busy. I got a couple more things, lined up. So I'm excited to work with Livia as well. Get those orders in if you want to, get on an early train, right?
You always want to get on the early train, even if you're running and drop all your duffel bags in the process.
There you go. All right. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
We'll see you next week.